actually have a great presentation to start off with. Everyone's very, very proud of our alpine ski team. So I'd like to invite Coach Ron Gifford and Coach John Whitney up to make a special presentation and talk a little bit about the accomplishments of our ski team.
First and foremost, thank you to the board for taking this time to recognize our two alpine ski teams. And really thank you all for, over the years, for supporting extracurricular and co-curricular activities. The things that they learn out of the classroom to be great leaders and really great supportive individuals and wonderful teammates, and all those things are critical to their education, I think, going forward. The ski teams this year, the alpine ski teams, had a pretty historic couple of days. A little bit of history. In 1975, when the school opened, there was no intention of having a ski team, Nordic or alpine. And fortunately, back then, the school board agreed to go ahead and support both ski teams. Had to find some coaches, which we did. And I think it was probably a pretty good decision, because I don't have the exact number, but I think we're now up to 40 or 50 state championships in both alpine and Nordic skiing. So, I have my back to my group here. I don't really like this. I know I'm talking to you folks, but I'm going to talk to everybody.
You got to stay on camera for us.
Whoops, sorry. My bad.
You're on camera.
I really don't like being on camera. That's why I moved. Could not be prouder of these two groups. You know, it's an exciting season when you can win one championship. This year, the alpine team set history in winning both championships, girls and boys, for the first time in school history. The night we got back and had a kind of a really pretty fun celebration here, I got home and got a phone call about 8:30, 8:45, with my eyes barely open, and Bob McKee, who was my predecessor and coach of the ski team for 20 to 25 years ahead of me, called to congratulate me and the team. And you know, his words were really heartfelt and meaning to me, but I think the thing that really struck him, and certainly any of us who have been alpine ski coaches, you know, when you're out there going 25 to 50 miles an hour, trying to navigate through gates on ice in any kind of condition, and successfully do that with 16 runs over the course of 2 days, and come out champions, is really speaks volumes to these athletes and what they've done and what they've committed to. So thank you again for taking this time, and I'd like to call up all my athletes one at a time, and I'm going to have you stay up here. John, could you come on up? John Whitney, my assistant coach. And my understanding is we're going to take a picture behind you, Jay, afterwards. So athletes, when you come up, I'll give you your certificate, and if you could kind of work your way over there, and then we'll take a picture. Starting with the girls, captain and senior Katie I. Captain and senior Caroline Welch. Senior Dana Reynolds. Senior Nina Georgi. Senior Vita Scott. Senior Hannah Liscord. No, don't see her. Junior Lexi Delisle. Sophomore and sister Ella Delisle. Sophomore Anna Erb. Sophomore Ella Trefethen. Sophomore Megan Mahoney. Sophomore Emily Harper. There's a lot of good skiing something in the water in that sophomore group.
And we would like the coaches to join us.
I'll sit here. Leg strength, what I do.
1, 2, 7. We have parents, so just wait for parents.
Okay.
And of course, we won both, so on to the boys. And we do have, I don't see, we had 7 athletes. If you finish in the top 15 in either event at the state meet, Class A or B, you qualify to go to the what's commonly known as the shootout. And it's a series of selection races in one day, 2 runs of slalom, 2 runs of giant slalom. Top 12 out of all those get chosen as to the main high school ski team to compete at the Eastern High School Championships, which are this weekend. They start tomorrow, actually. And we had 7 athletes qualify for the shootout, and they all skied incredibly well over there. We had one boy, Robbie McKee, make the team, and they've already headed west, so I'll mention his name, but he's off to compete at the next level. Against teams from all over New England down to the D.C. area and including Michigan and Wisconsin. So it's a pretty amazing event. So, senior and captain Corbin Howe. Colin here? Colin Magar, senior? Not here. Senior John McLaughlin. Senior Jack Galetta. Senior Roger Richards. Junior Michael Tamburini. I'm trying to look to see who's here. Junior Ruben Severston. Sorry. And freshman Aiden Guimond.
Hang tight there. Thank you guys very, very much. Congratulations.
Student representatives.
It's been a pretty busy month at the high school. Our student senate's been very busy. The health center committee for Valentine's Day did a Love Is project to spread awareness about. Sorry about that. The health center committee did a Love Is project to spread awareness about healthy relationships. People wrote what love meant to them on a paper heart, and they put them up in the lobby. It was really cool to see as it filled in paper hearts. We had February vacation, a personal favorite of mine. And when we came back, we went right into Winter Carnival, which was a huge success. The seniors won. Some people would claim that's as it should be. Not sure about that, but we ended the week with the first ever Winter Carnival dance. Also that week, our National Honor Society did the Penny Wars, which raised money for both the Maranacook and Mount Vernon food banks. We also had our first remote learning day. Personally, I enjoyed it. I felt like I did my work, but people had mixed reviews overall, I think. We also had our 8th grade parent night last week, so the 8th graders were able to come up with their parents. There was pizza. They could have tours of the school. I think it's a great way to introduce people to the school with less pressure, like a step-up day or something. Yeah.
And along with all this, as we just talked about, both Alpine teams won our state championship, so that's cool. Also, the boys and girls Nordic team were awarded the Good Sportsmanship Award, and I believe this is their 3rd year in a row. So they are good sports for sure. And the boys basketball team made it to their state game, which was really amazing for them, and they put up such a fight. If anyone came to the game, it was amazing. And the cave was also magnificent, which I think is a testament to our awesome Maranacook community. And Robin McKee qualified to ski in All-Eastern High School Championship race this weekend in New Hampshire. That's all.
Sorry, my thing's just scrolling down. Okay, so starting with Moose. I don't know what to do, it's just moving. Okay, so on Moose, Miss Jones's class is studying genetic disorders because they already studied how genes work. Miss Tucker and her student teacher, Mrs. Moores, have been looking at the Holocaust, and they also took a visit to the Holocaust and Human Rights Center in Augusta to hear stories of survivors. Ms. Satterfield started an argument writing piece where they are researching some kind of paranormal activity and learning about how to read closely to find evidence. They are also planning their 3rd trimester where they will learn about worldly culture. On Royal, we are working on wrapping up the trimester with final projects. In Miss Ryder's class, we are working on the main college essays and handing in our final copies. In Mrs. Jewell's class, we are working on body positivity. And in Miss Tracy's class, we are learning about different risk factors and diseases, along with writing an essay about entrepreneurs. On Sebago, they started a program where they're going to be growing flowers and vegetables. So they have these glow lights, and they're working on building stands for the lights. They're also working on getting their plans for like what they're going to grow and when they're going to start it. And Civil Rights Team is doing a book of the month, and this month it is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. And for student government, we ran the winter carnival, which went well, but we did not do the sled races because the weather was not good. So instead, we took them into the gym and did a contest on whose was the prettiest. And that's it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Citizens' comments. I see none. Additions to the agenda.
I don't have any.
Anybody? None. Reports of staff and everybody.
So because we're on camera, I'll ask the principals if you could go to the podium for your quick snapshot update of your report. So if I could ask the elementary principals to go first this time, that would be great. And you all three probably could go up together and just take turns, so.
Whoever's in the middle can start.
So we are currently in the middle of March Madness, and it's not basketball, but March Madness at both Mount Vernon and Wayne. We are inviting families, members like parents, but also community members, board members, if you'd like to come in and be a guest reader or run a lunch bunch of all around a book. I'm reading for both schools along classroom teachers. We have other teachers from other buildings, like the art teacher is going to be doing one. Kathy Jacobs, I believe we're hooking you up in Mount Vernon. So board members, if you'd like to be a guest reader or host a lunch bunch where you will read a picture book or a first chapter of a chapter book to hook kids in, it's all about enjoyment and love of reading. It doesn't have to be any teaching involved, just you sharing maybe your favorite book as you were a child or one that you really like now. We would love to have you, so you can email me or a classroom teacher at Mount Vernon and Wayne and be part of our March Madness. And we are also going to have a great celebration with that towards the end of the month.
Next.
Thank you. It's also Literacy Week month in at Manchester Elementary School with a lot of literacy events this week. We have a Scholastic Book Fair going on. We had an author visit. Jody D., a current children's author, came in today and did a presentation to all classrooms. We have a grandparent event. It's the grand event on tomorrow night for the book fair. We'll be doing pictures and other literacy events. At the same time, we are also doing the DOE initiative of the Read to Me Challenge, but we make it our own. Instead of uploading our pictures of people reading to grandparents or stuffed animals or friends or brothers or sisters, we just have them printed out and we create a bulletin board of them reading. Last year they were reading to hamsters, horses, family members. It was really an adorable bulletin board, so we're looking forward to that. Just celebrating literacy because it is so important. And at the same time, they also track reading 15 minutes a day to or with a family member because it's not just about reading instructions, it's about practice. So we're celebrating that. We had our showcase of phys ed elements of the circus last night at Manchester Elementary School. It's been a crazy week. The Lion King play is still in preparation stage and is expected to be performed March 31st. We've had to move dates with snow days and such, but that's well underway. It's just like a lot of things happening. And a trout egg hatched. So we have 350 trout eggs. It's a project through the Friends of the Cobbessy Watershed that we are raising trout eggs. They will be acclimated to the water temperatures and be set into Jamie's Pond in, I think, early May. We have a date to go for the day. And they will eventually be fished out of Cobbessy.
I'll just say ditto. It's been literacy, we've been doing a lot of literacy at events at Reed Field as well. As you saw in your board packet, our 3 through 5 team really did something different this year to promote literacy. The superintendent happened to be over there before vacation. We had the entire 3 through 5 camping out in our hallways, reading fiction and nonfiction. There's a March Madness bulletin board where the kids get to, in brackets, which kids get to choose their favorite book and we'll see which one makes it to the championship, whether it's a fiction or a nonfiction book. Currently, right now, we're celebrating Dr. Seuss Week. If you were at Reedfield today, it was wacky clothes day. Kids were wacky in K-2. So it reminded me of back in the 70s when I was a kid. Lots of stripes. But that's what we're doing, and we're having a good time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And no pressure, board members, but superintendent is also coming to Reed, so pressure is on.
Dr. Levac, do you mind going next?
All right, so we have some new clubs happening right now in the middle school. This last week, actually, we started our Manga Club, which is like animation. I'm learning a lot from the kids because I don't know much about it, but they know a ton, so that's been really fun. We have a unified basketball. This is the first year we've ever had it. It was sponsored through a grant that Brant Remington got for us, and we had our first game yesterday against Lisbon. All of our athletes scored at least once, and it was awesome. It was probably the best night of my life, I think. It was so fun. And we are starting a debate club with a parent volunteer, which has been really amazing. That will start on Friday just to get interest. And then we're going to go from there and see what happens. And the Senior Cafe, which is through Adult Ed with Steve Vos, we have been working with the Senior Cafe on Mondays. Some of Miss Smith's kiddos and students from the Acadia team, and they're reading the book Night by Ellie Weasel, I think that's how you say his name, and it's based in 1944 during Nazi occupation, and I'm not sure what country, but they've been talking with the senior citizens and just having a book club together, which has been really neat. And our spring musical, Annie Jr., is March 20th through the 22nd, and March 8th, which is this Sunday, we have our arts night, which it's free. Everyone should come. Bring cash because we have food and raffles and just a lot of great entertainment from kids. And then there'll be a lot of different art activities that anyone can do.
Thank you.
Dr. Conway?
All right. Our JMG program is conducting a community service project. They're collecting different items for Marines in Okinawa, Japan. Different things like shaving razor blades, protein bars, hand sanitizer, different things they've asked for. Our top 10 students for GPA were identified two weeks ago. Ms. Brackley and myself were able to visit them a couple Sundays ago and congratulate them and let them know what number they're graduating in and celebrate with them and all that good stuff. And we have 6 students leaving tomorrow on our Spain trip. They're heading out for, I believe, tomorrow. They're going to leave school tomorrow around 9 or 10 and then go to Boston and leave for Madrid, and they're going to Segovia and Toledo, and it should be a great trip.
So what about your presentation? Do you need more people for that on the 16th? Project graduation or?
Or Project of a Graduate, yes. Yeah, and that is an open invitation to anyone who would like to attend. We are kind of casting our net as wide as we can. Myself, Dr. Harriman, and Dr. Conway are going to be the ones kind of spearheading that and kind of putting the presentation together. But we'd love to have anyone board members, community members. We're even inviting students to this, so we're casting our net wide and seeing how many people we can get. So,
Thank you.
Great.
You're relieved.
Mr. Vos, do you mind going next? I just looking up and seeing you.
Pretty excited. This year, we have one of our biggest high-set classes yet. We have 10 people. And yesterday, I handed off a diploma, which was our second one of the year, to a young lady who was very excited. And so, great year. Also, our high school CDL program has been progressing really well. We have 3 students. They have undergone and completed all of their classroom requirements, and next they'll be starting driving. So they actually applied to the state for their driving permits, and they should be receiving those within the next couple weeks. So I thought that was pretty exciting. And finally, tomorrow I head to a legislative breakfast over at the Senator Inn, where I'll be meeting with all the adult ed directors will be there, and we'll be sitting at tables with legislators from the different areas to talk about adult ed issues. Thank you.
Before you leave? Sure. It says 17. You're not, is the state issuing licenses at 17 on
Yes.
CDL?
They'll issue permits.
Not a license, but permit.
Yep, but most of them will turn 18 before the end of the year.
Well, there's a difference. Because to hire them,
Sure.
you can't have her until they're 18 minimum,
Right. One of them's a junior.
because that's the federal regs.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Meserve, do you mind going next?
All right, I just wanted to mention, it's not in the board report, but in this next week or so, our occupational therapist, Julie Godin, is hosting an intern, so just a level 1 intern. That'll be about a week and a half. She seems to always get requests from area universities, especially USM, to do fieldwork studies, and then in mid-March, end of March, she will get a fieldwork placement for the remainder of the year. That will be, I think, 5 days a week, pretty full-time. It's a big commitment on her part. It's great for the students who come and get the experience, but it's also, I think it's really good for us to really be explicit and share all the work that we do around occupational therapy within the district. So, Julie does a great job of supporting that, and we try to make sure that we can support her too when she has the fieldwork placements.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Harriman, is there anything you wanted to add on your report this week? Okay, thank you. So, yeah.
You.
Me,
A
oh,
report.
okay.
You have a report.
Yes.
And so one of the things is that, how did the snow day work?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. So for the most part, we got very positive feedback. We currently have surveys that we sent out to parents, students, and to staff as well. We're gathering all that information together. We are going to be having a follow-up meeting. We're looking to schedule that follow-up meeting and put together a summary of all of that information and bring it back to you guys here. And I will let you guys know that we have had lots and lots of calls and emails asking us how we did it and how successful has it been. So once we get a chance to sit and go through all of our information, we'll be able to kind of report back to you guys and make a decision on where we go from here, what our next steps will be. But for the most part, very positive, and we'll dig into the data and report back to you guys. It'll be probably by the end of March here, probably. So, yeah, no, not. I know we were looking at scheduling the meeting, so not March. It'll be probably the April 1st meeting. Yes. So I apologize. I'm rushing people here. Yeah, but we will have that information to you guys because we feel that's important.
So the other thing that Jay put out for us is the truancy.
Yes.
And I thought that was kind of interesting because at the high school seems to have a problem. And is that gone for the whole day when you write these down?
Yes, so truancy is saying that they have missed a set number of days continuously, and that's how they get reported as truant. So what we're doing with that report is every month I am going to continue to put that out there. The good news is, the month of February, we didn't have any new truancy reports, which is a really good thing. And I think that's a credit to the work that all of the principals have been doing to try to get kids here at school and help them find ways to get to school. But yeah, so I am reporting it out month by month, so that way you can kind of see a trend, and that will be a regular thing that I do from here on out, so that's a good.
That was part of our policy, and also
Yes.
you reported it to the state.
Right, exactly, I have to report to the state as well,
So-
so, yeah,
Now you know what the state sees.
yes. Good point.
Okay, moving on here.
So the next thing we have up is the reports from the committee meetings that we had over this last month. So the first one up is curriculum, and I believe, Wendy, you're the one that reports
Yep.
out?
The RSU 38 Curriculum Committee met February 12th at 4 p.m. at the superintendent's office. It very much like what Dr. Harriman said in the packet you had. Jeremy Smith, Hope Lord, and Amanda Shively presented the visual and performing arts curriculum for the K-12. It appeared they worked very hard to coordinate state standards throughout each grade level in simple, direct rubrics that all of the art teachers could follow and understand. The curriculum committee approved the visual and performing arts curriculum for K through 12, and it will be sent to the full school board for approval this spring. Kelsey Trefethen and Hannah Moran presented their new course proposals for the 2021 school year for the Maranacook Alternative Program, or MAP for short. These two talented teachers worked tirelessly to create courses that are more personalized for their students, but ones that also meet the state standards. Many of the questions asked are reflected in Dr. Harriman's minutes of the meeting, which can be found in your packet. The curriculum committee approved the new MAP courses for next year. The MAP program proposal will be sent to the full school board for approval this spring. Lastly, with time running out, we had a presentation by Abby Schink, the K-12 district math coach, about K-5 illustrative mathematics. A committee made up of staff and teachers is convening to discuss the future of illustrative mathematics in our district. At the next curriculum meeting, we will be talking to a math coach or two and finding out more about illustrative math and how it is impacting our students, teachers, and staff. The next meeting is April 8th at 4 p.m. at the superintendent's office.
Thank you, Wendy.
And on the same thing, I got to give the high school credit, because you didn't report on it, and that was to standardize so that when teachers move into the high school, they know exactly where the course, what has to be done. And that was done on Monday. Small group, but we had outside people, so that was good.
Excellent. So next up is facilities. And I know usually it's Alex that reports, but he wasn't able to be at that meeting, so I don't want to put him on the spot. I don't know if somebody, are you okay to report? Okay. So that report is on page 6. I don't know if there's another committee member that would like to report out, or I can give a brief summary, or I know you were there, Dr.
Yeah.
Carr, so.
What's 6?
It's, page 25.
25, right there. So there's two things that we're going to be asked to approve tonight, and that is the two things that are going to be added to the bond. That was the lockers, and the other item was transportation, the paving. So that, we're just waiting for the bids to come in on those. That's going to be voted on tonight. The idea of the solar idea was tabled at this time until the Awesome Bear Society comes in, so that we can figure out what they're actually going to do and what they're going to do to the field down there before we put in lights. The lights have to be replaced, but before we replace the lights, if the thing is going to be increased in size, we don't want to put new lights down because everything would have to be moved. So that isn't cool. And then the industrial arts and weldings, Sean is going to look into what we need to do in that area for the industrial arts and what can be done about if they stay where they are or they move. That was the other thing. The COPS grant, we're moving forward on that, and that all the lots will be changed this summer. And bulletproof glass is not being used in other facilities. That what they're doing is putting the film on the glass, and so we're looking into what that actually entails, which stops the shattering of the glass. And 2 buses. One was approved by the VW settlement, and so we'll have to pay 20% of that. They pay the other 80. And we have one outstanding, which is at the DOE, and we're waiting for them to come around for the second go-around of the whole thing, to see how far the money goes. End of story.
Good, and then the last one is the policy committee meeting, which, again, the minutes are on page 27, and we do have 3 policies, am I saying that right?
No,
That are going in for a second read here tonight. And I know, Patty, I apologize, I'm kind of speaking for you.
No, that's okay.
I apologize, I
Well,
just started rolling. I'll turn it over to you.
I think we talked about the minutes of this meeting at the last board meeting. We haven't met again since then, but yeah. There are
So
3
here they
second
are.
reads here about public participation in board meetings, curriculum development and adoption, and student wellness that are before you in your packet.
That's it? Thank you.
Moving on.
I move to approve the minutes of February 26, 2020.
Any discussion? All in favor?
May abstain.
Sean?
I wasn't here, so.
Okay.
Abstain. Melissa, same.
I'm abstaining also.
And Kathy as well?
All right, I move that we accept the donations.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you for giving us the donations.
I move that we accept the resignation due to retirement of Vicky Gabron, MS nurse, with regret.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yep. I just want to say, yes, that we are accepting this with deep regret and also a very heartfelt thank you for all the work that Vicki has done for this district over the years that she's been here. She's been awesome, and she's going to be hard to replace.
Yes.
All in favor? There we go.
I move that we consider the out-of-state trip, Mount Vernon Elementary School, grade 5, going to Boston, Mass., June 11th, 2020.
Second.
Any discussion? And I have one. There are more chaperones than students.
Mrs. Delmar can explain that.
This trip is something that the 5th grade at Mount Vernon has done forever. This is my 6th year in the district and at the school, and they've done it before then. Part of the kind of requirement behind it is that a parent or parents also attend. So you'll notice that the students go, but their parents go as well.
So, the way I understand it, didn't say about anything about the transportation. Are you taking a bus?
I think if you look at it, I think it's on that paper she added that they're all going to meet in Portland and they're going to take the train down. So parents, take their own transportation with their kiddos to the bus, to the train station, and then they go from there.
Okay.
So no RSU 38 transportation.
Will the parents take them to Portland? Will the parents take them to Portland?
Yeah, the parents, because they also go on the trip. They'll be on the train and they go to all the events as well.
Right.
Yeah. So they drive their own student.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
I move that we consider the overnight trip for the middle school Acadia team, Camden Hills State Park, May 26th through 27th, 2020.
Second.
So discussion on this one. So we have 68 students and 8. Cost of transportation is $1,800. And are they going by bus?
Yeah, I'll ask Dr. Levac to come up just so she can answer any questions. But yes, they are going by bus. Is it our bus, Dr. Levac? Okay.
So you're having 2 buses go?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So are we paying for that?
They raised the money for it.
Any further discussion? Go ahead.
It says private charter on here, so is it 2 school buses or a private charter? It says other transportation have been made, please specify private charter.
So my understanding is that they take our bus, but then there's also parents who help out and bring, like, for the overnight activities that they do. But they go through our busing.
Because it says notification of transportation needs made to transportation director and not applicable is on the form.
I can check with them, but usually they take our busing, and then they just have the parents help out with the other part of it. But all of it is raised through the PTO part that they do. I can check and let you know. I can get back to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean, what we do with it?
Yeah.
It says private charter. But it's our school buses.
That's I can double check,
Yeah.
because they usually take our transportation, but I can definitely double check.
So I'll ask Dr. Levac to let me know, and I'll correct the paperwork if there's anything we need
Okay,
to
I'll
adjust
message,
on the paperwork.
I can let
think
them,
that's
I can
very
find
fair.
out for sure tonight. They might just be using parents, but
Yeah.
I can find out for sure. I don't think so.
Well, the only thing is that when you talk about buses, they normally hold 55 as the capacity by federal law. If you look up
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually
Greyhound or any of
would take
those.
2, and the reason I'm saying that, because I spoke to one of the teachers, because one of the things that they want to do is they're going to one of a college, I think it's College of the Atlantic, and so the transportation part would be covered through one of our grants that we get. Well, part of it would be covered through one of our grants that we get, so we usually just do that with our transportation, but I'll confirm it to make sure.
I'll report back to you. I'll have Dr. Levac let me know, and I'll let the board know, just so that it's clear
Let
for
it go
everyone. Yeah,
You want to vote on it?
that's up to you guys.
26.
Yeah, 5/26.
You want to do
So
it?
it's in May. It's in May,
So we can bring it next meeting.
if you guys want to, yeah.
You want to table it or move it on? What would
I
you?
thought we could move it on. They're going to go by bus, either private charter or our buses, so.
I can probably find out before the end of this meeting, too. I can find out for sure. I can message her right now and find out. So.
As long as they're going on a bus, I think that's.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstain?
Okay. Hmm? No, David voted for it. Just abstain.
Okay, now,
So, we're up to policies.
go ahead, policies.
All right. I move to accept BEDH, public participation in board meetings.
Any discussion? All in favor? Go.
I move to accept policy IGA, curriculum development and adoption.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I move to accept policy JL, student wellness.
Any discussion on them? All in favor?
Wait,
Go ahead.
yeah, I just had a question. So the part that's crossed off, the physical education program will provide students with the knowledge and skills needed to be physical and take part in a helpful physical activity, blah, 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 A and B, and students will develop motors. How come those were taken out? I'm just curious of the logic.
I didn't hear the last part,
These are
Kim,
two.
I apologize.
So the two parts that
Yeah.
were taken out, I was just curious
Yeah.
behind the logic
So
of taking
that
those out of physical
came
education.
from, we put this policy through the DO, I'm not going to say this right, I'm going to mess it up. We put the policy through the state audit. There's an update that has to happen for this, and this was their suggestion that that language be removed from our policy. Yeah.
But I guess do we know the reason?
I think it's already in the PE curriculum,
Yes.
the physical education curriculum.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have, I got it.
All in favor?
I move that we approve the 2020-2021 school calendar.
I have a question about that.
Yeah?
How does, and I probably should know this, but I don't, has staff already looked at this and given all their,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So what is the chain of, how does it flow?
Very good question.
From the beginning
So,
to us?
because we send students to the Capital Area Technical Center, all of the schools, superintendents get together, share our calendars from last year, build another one going forward. Then we have a discussion among the superintendents. And one of the things that we've got to be very careful of is we can only have 5 days dissimilar with the Capital Area Technical Center. So fortunately or unfortunately, they kind of drive the ship a little bit in terms of what the final calendar looks like. But once we have that, I get that, I plug in local information like the late start dates, for example. Then I did share it with the association, asked them for feedback, shared it with the administrative team, asked them for feedback, and then brought it to you guys.
So this has already been adjusted with others' feedback?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yep.
Go ahead.
I remember last year, we had a discussion about the late starts at the high school. Can you update us as to how those are being used and whether they are being used effectively?
Dr. Conway, are you prepared to do that? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the number was cut down this year, and I don't, I mean, that was difficult in some ways because it's professional development time that we lost, but it's great time with the students too, which we need, so it's a balance. The time this year has been dedicated to the advisor program and professional learning communities. More time with professional learning communities, just the way it worked out, and they have been just rock star. They've been great. Hannah Moran has helped run it at the high school, so we've identified different areas that teachers actually have identified that they want to grow and learn in, and they are actually leading the learning, so it's been really good.
So, I was going to ask the same question, actually. So I'm wondering, I'm a little bit confused. You said the focus was advisor program, and then you said PLCs. Those are two different things, correct?
Yes.
Or the PLCs are focusing on the advisor program?
No, two different things. I mean,
Okay.
the PLCs could, but they haven't been.
Okay. So my next question is, I'd like to know, and I think we've asked this before, what the goals are for the PLCs and how you're evaluating their effectiveness. And the reason that I want to know that is because, and I've said this before, I think if this time is really effective and it's something that has been very beneficial to our students, we need to look at equity across the district and giving all of our staff members that extra time, whether it's late starts for across the district or whatever it is. I go back to wanting some equity for everyone with that. So I'd like to see some data with the goals of the late starts and the evaluation of those goals so that we can determine if it's something that we want to actually extend to other buildings.
So I can give you something written, but as far as our goals go, they're from Dufour, and they're really a whole school movement on instruction and learning. But I can give you something more formal than that, or...
We'll get that to you for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And
Thank
just
you.
for everyone's information, because I do think it's important that you guys know that. So, like I said at the beginning, Capital Area Technical Center kind of drives this. Even though we have a late start, our students still go to CATC on their regular time. So that group of students is not missing any of their instructional time as far as CATC goes. So I just quickly want to point that out. The other thing that I'd like to just share with you guys about the calendar is for the first time in many, many years, our calendars are going to align for all of the early release dates. And that means in RSU 2, Winthrop, Gardner, Augusta, and one of the things that all of the superintendents talked about, and we were really going to make a concerted effort to do that, is if we are doing things that can be beneficial across our district during those early release times, we'd like to extend the opportunity to either go to them or maybe have them come to us. And I know when we drafted this, several of the superintendents who have been around for a long time were very, very excited that we actually had a calendar that was regionally, looks very, very similar. That hasn't happened in a long time, so I think we've got a lot of opportunity here with these early release dates.
I understand the need for early release days and workshop days. But when you look at the calendar, there are very few full weeks of school. As a grandparent, on early release days, in other places, when you take kids anywhere, you see a lot of grandparents. Mm-hmm. But for those families that don't have grandparents, I worry. Or other ways of taking care of kids. And full weeks of school are necessary.
So I count 5 of them.
What's that?
5.
I think December has the most full weeks of school of any month.
You get 6 of them.
6, 7.
6.
Late starts are different, so 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I count 7.
Oh, I did. I missed one.
Yeah.
November.
Yep.
Are you getting the bang for your buck?
I believe so, yes.
Is it demonstrated
Yeah.
in the grades that the students produce?
It's hard to correlate an early release
Oh,
with
yeah,
grades.
sure.
Well, that would be hard for me to correlate, but I do think it's important for teacher professional development. But I totally hear what Betty has shared, because I think that is a common concern. I really do.
So is all schools having that many?
Yes.
7?
Yeah, that's all of,
Is that a
yeah.
state thing with the contract?
A state thing with the contract? No,
With our contract with
No.
the teachers?
no. A couple of them would be, yes.
I think you need to look at that, early release. And then,
Yeah.
but I mean, the calendar is the way it is. Any further discussion? I see you looking, David. I'm willing to listen. So we're gonna pass it, but we'd like you to look at the early release.
Yep.
All right? All in favor?
Tabling it?
What are we doing?
No. Let it move
Accepting
through.
it?
Was there a motion?
To approve it.
Yeah.
There was a motion.
Oh, give me a
There
motion.
there already was, I
There
already
was.
did make the motion, there was a second to
Okay.
approve it.
So I was right. All in favor? To accept the document. You agree? Well, it's time past there. Oh, we're gonna give Jay the responsibility to report back in his next report.
I'm good too. Did we count it? And can I ask a no? Okay, all right.
Can we vote one more time just so we get an accurate count? All in favor?
In favor.
Unanimous, okay. Thank you.
I just have a question of what it is that you're asking Jay to do.
Look at the amount of early releases, are they really required?
Yeah.
Because it goes back to what Betty was talking about. That's just something for him to look at.
Okay.
As superintendent, we can give him some credit to do something.
Dave,
Yeah,
Continue on that, I think it's good that he report back to us on it.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be coming back to us with a proposal to change it, just to talk
No,
about it.
to
and
talk
then
about it.
We can discuss whether we want to.
that's all.
Yep, I'll put it in my report, like you said.
Okay.
I move that we approve the use of bond funds to pave the transportation facility parking area.
second.
So, I'm going to have some discussion on that. So we had $111,000 to $246,000 to do that job, two different contractors. But until it goes to bid, we don't know the final number. So it needs to go to bid, and then it'll come back to us to approve the bid.
Yeah, we should, so that we can
Okay.
get to bid.
They're parking in mud
Yeah.
now.
No, I know
So-
they are, but they're going to also put a concrete slab out there. I don't
Yeah.
think he's here.
No, I need Sean to be.
But that's not in this. The concrete slab is not in this. This is just paving
Right.
where the buses park and all
And then
the
the front.
front parking lot.
Right.
So as Dr. Conway said, what we're looking for is an approval so we can go out to bid. And then once we have that bid number, we are going to bring that back to you for a final approval.
Second, all right. All in favor?
I'm sorry, I'm confused on the motion again.
The motion is that we can go out to bid.
We go,
Just to go out to bid?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
We will need to bring the final number back to you guys for final approval. But in order to be able to put this out, because there's a whole process that goes along with using bond funds, we need board approval to start that process. So what's your vote? You don't?
All right, it's all,
Yeah.
Shall we do it again?
it's all,
I'm ready to vote now.
Okay, she's all set.
Clear as mud, people. I'm sorry, it's gonna happen.
okay, go.
I move to approve the use of bond funds to replace and install the new high school lockers.
Second.
So this has been discussed for many years. Sean is going to remove the old, and we're going to have the firm come in and install the new, which is going to cost us $56,395. At this point, until we go to bid, we don't know, but that's a general ballpark. So,
the lockers certainly are in need
They're
of
pretty bad.
replacement. They're the originals.
And Sean is gonna, when he removes them, they'll go into a dumpster and then go for recycling, because they're all metal.
They're going where, I'm sorry?
Recycling.
Recycling. All in favor? Yeah,
Melissa, where were you?
Melissa?
I'm going to abstain.
Rebecca?
Melissa's abstained.
I voted
She
for it.
voted, she's
Thank you.
upset.
Informational, upcoming meetings. Health Center Advisory is at 3:24 at 6 PM. Ad hoc group, Boston Bears, at 6:30 in the high school. Budget workshop.
I just have a question. Who's the board member that goes to the Awesome Bear Society? Do we have one?
Yep.
Are you going to talk to them about the lights in their project?
No.
No.
No, because we are inviting Ron or someone to come
Somebody's
to the
coming into
meeting.
the facilities meeting next time,
Right, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
so that we can figure out what's gonna happen in that area.
Okay.
And the next meeting happens to be on a school board meeting night as well. And it also happens to be when I'm in Florida.
Oh, maybe David will take your place for you.
We'll conference you in. She can watch and text us.
Yeah, you could.
Okay, Jay.
Yeah, so I know we've been doing things a little bit different this year in terms of the budget. So I am going to present this kind of round together one more time for you guys, but I have all the people here that can answer any questions that may come up concerning these particular centers. So of course, as we're going through, if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask them. We can do it at the end or we can do it while it's going on, whatever is easier for you guys as you go through. So tonight we're going to tackle co and extracurricular, transportation, adult education, food service, health center, professional development, which includes assessment and curriculum, system administration, and debt service. So again, just to recap, so that everyone is kind of on the same page of where we're going. Our goal here that we set at the very beginning was promoting student success in all areas as we strive for academic excellence while maintaining fiscal responsibility. And I think I just stuttered over that word again. So that's our goal that we set at the beginning, which has been consistent. Again, team directives, just as a reminder, we were looking as an administrative team to try to keep it to little to no increase in overall spending. Our target is 2%. The second thing was to increase transparency and equity of spending practices, instructional line spending based on number of students in a building with additional allocations for our Title I schools, and those were Mount Vernon and Wayne elementary schools only. We're looking at class sizes in the elementary school of 15 to 20, 18 to 22 in the middle school, and then 10 or more at the high school. And we also have put out right from the beginning that positions may not be filled automatically. We would have discussions around positions as they came open, and we are kind of starting to get into that season on if there will be movement. So we will be updating you as we go along, obviously, with that. So these particular centers, here's some information for you. I tried to include a few more numbers because I was asked if we can look at, so that you just kind of have a ballpark figure of where we're going. So with co and extracurricular positions, There are no new co- and extracurricular positions being proposed this year, but you will see in that budget line that it's up $13,151, and all of that is due to the negotiated settlement, specifically the stipend schedule that we have that we follow. So just so you know, I do have Bran here if you got any questions specific to that, however. And if you have some at the end, that's totally fine, but we'll just kind of keep rolling through if that's okay with everyone. So transportation is up $35,736, but of that amount, $25,000 is due to the cost of out-of-district special education transportation, as well as salaries and benefits. Again, you're going to see a consistent theme as we work through this. But it's, like I said, up just a little over $35,000. Adult education is looking at no change, but I did want to note, because I think it's very important, you've heard success from Mr. Vos about the CDL class being offered at the high school level. So that's no change. Last year, he requested $12,000 specifically for the CDL program at the high school, and even though there's no change, that request is still kind of couched in that where he is right now. So it is there, but it's really not a change, just so that you guys know budget-wise. So absolutely the same dollar amount is what we're looking at. Totally no change there. Food service is up about $7,000, but the important thing to note is that the local share that we raise for food service is $105,000. That's our local share amount. That number is not changing at all. But the total cost is up $7,000. But when you look at the numbers, they actually are the same as last year, but it just kind of looks a little funky, so I like to put that out there. The health center is absolutely no change. It's status quo. The exact same number that we had last year is the number that we're working with going forward into the next school year. So absolutely no dollar change there whatsoever. And I am going quickly, so if I'm going too fast, please don't feel free to slow me down. And again, I've got people that can help with questions as they come up. So professional development, assessment, and curriculum, these three areas. Professional development is up about $7,350. And again, that goes back to the curriculum work that we included with the stipend schedule and the negotiated agreement. We have positions where people do curriculum work for us, and that increase reflects what we've asked for curriculum work. In the assessment line, we've actually been able to reduce that by $6,818, and that's due to contracted services we're not using anymore. Bridget, did I say that correctly? Okay. She's my check here, so. And then on the curriculum line of things, the curriculum budget is up about $2,274, and again, it comes down to the teachers that we use to help with those curriculum development, so it's up just a little over $2,000 in that particular line. System administration is up it's up $51,805, and it's due to several factors. Includes our ADS financial software, the Educational Service Center, salaries and benefits, and so that you see that there, the Educational Service Center, we've been calling it the RSC. We need to have, as our share of that particular program, we need $20,000 there. So that's kind of, I don't want anyone to think that we're that's exactly where it's coming from, is about $20,000 to be able to fund the activities that go on, and each of the districts in the RSC are contributing to that based on their student count. So just so that you guys kind of know what's going on there. And I do have some handouts for you. I'll give them to you here at the end because that'll help you process. So debt service, the new bond that we received through the town referendum, that payment alone brings it up $414,500. That includes one principal payment and two interest payments on just that single bond alone. I do have a sheet that shows all the other projects that are going on. One of the things that's important to note is the middle school next year will be our last payment on the middle school. It'll be payment 20 of 20. And we've got a couple other smaller ones that are coming off also not next year, but the year after in 21, 22. So just so that you guys have that. Lease purchases are down about $213,920. And it's really important that you guys know that. We talked about that when we did the technology. Talked about technology. They're doing a bridge year for technology from the state, the MLTI project. So basically that takes $85,852 off our lease payment account. And we also lease payment Siemens Phase 1 that was done several years ago, but that's payoff is completed this year. So again, you've got about $128,000 that is coming off at this time. But again, we've acknowledged it all along, that bond payment of $414,500 is significant. So that's one of the reasons why we're trying to hold things as level as we can. So let's get some handouts to you guys so you can take a look and start to process and ask some questions. We'll pass those around. I'm going to return to my seat. Oh, sure.
No,
I just have a quick,
return.
I just have a quick question. The health center where there's no change?
Yes, the health center is no change.
So that's Vicky being replaced?
That,
Because Vicky, we approved her retirement.
Bridget will help me with that one.
The regular nurses have nothing to do with the health center. They're part of the regular school budget. The health center is the health center director, her administrative assistants that help her in the health center, and also the, they have contractors come in, behavioral health specialists and whatnot that come in, but the nurses are part of the regular budget.
Perfect, thank you. And while you're there, I don't know what we'd do without you.
Jay?
No, go ahead.
Jay, you mentioned $20,000 will be going for the Educational Service Center.
Yes.
What, for the projects? What are
Right.
the projects?
So what we've got planned for next year, and I'm going to apologize because I should have brought that with me, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but we do have several professional development activities that are included in that. We have, I don't remember off the top of my, I have to be honest, I don't remember off the top of my head. I will send that out to you at least tomorrow morning so that I can make sure that that is accurate, but we do have a list and I don't know it off the top of my head. I should have brought that with me, I apologize.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, IEP, you said $35,000 for busing. Is that paid by the state, refunded?
Oh, you're talking about the out-of-district special education transportation?
Yeah, the busing.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that refunded?
yeah. I'll let Ryan answer that one. That's
There is some funds that we can recoup from that for a high-cost out-of-district placement, but transportation funds are not factored into that. And I don't know if you want to add a little bit to that, Bridget.
Special ed out-of-district transportation is charged to a separate account number. And because of that, the state does roll it into part of the special ed subsidy formula. But I cannot tell you exactly how it's going to come back to us.
So a portion of it.
A portion of it may come back to us, yes.
Yeah, I mean, nothing to make up the whole amount, but yeah. There is a threshold for the tuition, though. Everything above a certain, I forget the dollar amount, 31,500 something.
I thought it was around 36. but
36.
yeah.
Everything that is above and beyond that for the tuition rate would come back to us through the high-cost added-district formula.
How many IEP students do you have?
Total within the district, about 150.
How much?
150 total,
Wow.
about that number. Yeah.
How many out-of-state placements,
Out of district placements,
out-of-district?
2.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
I know
had
Sean's
a
got
question
quick-
regarding the school lunch. I was just wondering, it's our first year under the system where students get lunch regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, which I'm fine with. I was just curious how that system was working.
Yep, so I will give you a quick update. The last time I talked to Jeff Bridges, he did tell me that the number was higher. That would have been in January. So that number was higher in January than it's been in the past. And obviously with Jeff's passing, we're looking to get that position filled. So we don't have all the figures at this time, but we are going to work on that. But it has been higher, Sean. That's a really good question. But I can't tell you by how much because I don't know that at this time.
I asked because I know that other districts have had to look
Yes.
at, I've read in the
Yes.
paper,
Yeah.
or have heard
Yeah.
other districts have had to look at
Yeah.
ways to
Yep, no.
work on that.
Yeah.
So.
If you guys are okay, I'll return to my seat
So
and
the big
you guys
problem
can
that we
continue.
have is that the other page that you used to always hand out that had the towns listed on it.
I have not done that yet.
Oh.
You'll
So
have it
can we
next
have that
week.
by next week?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We had a little power issue today.
Power
Yeah, we didn't have any.
Yeah, only 2 out of our schools had power from about, what, I'm going to say 11:30-ish, 11:20 till almost 1:45, I'd say about, give or take, so.
Yeah.
So it was a little, we were a little rushed.
That's a great time to get some of your work done, huh? Think of that. You must have battery power.
Any other board questions?
Right.
Does anybody else have? How did the lunch go for the snow day?
It went well, we tested out the day before, as the kids were going home. And we have a number associated with that. We're working on getting bigger, so we'll have that information for you also.
They'll be looking for it.
Yes, they will.
So, Kathy? No? Who has a question?
Question on the Barbara Godfrey retirement.
Ooh.
The
No, that was
letter
last-
is in here,
Right,
but we
that was
didn't do
last
any.
meeting, we did that one.
We did it
Yes,
last
we did
meeting,
do it last
okay.
So this is just giving us a copy of the letter. Thank you.
Had nothing to do with budget.
Do we do Kate Taylor?
No, that was Vicky's letter. We did her.
Oh.
Yeah, we're good. So you're still at board questions?
Any further board questions? So I asked dear Jay, because we have the towns coming in next week. And so I asked that you please be here, because they're going to have a lot of questions. And that he gives us a cost per student, per school, of where we stand. Because I think that will drive home get rid of a lot of questions. And the other question that came up this week, I've got 2 questions people call me. Why does the high school only have 10 students? And their question, yet the lower grades need to have more intense in their idea. instructions.
So I would like to answer that because the high school's kind of a different animal. I say animal when it comes to scheduling. There are several classes that are significantly higher than 10 students. But when we get into some of the dual enrollment, elective classes, sometimes those classes will have fewer enrollments, and those are the classes that will usually be, that will be somewhere around the 10-ish range. But there are classes, like if you go into an English class, you'll see 18 or 19 students sitting there. So not every class has 10 students in it. It varies anywhere from 10 students up to, I'd say, probably 22 or 23 in a couple classes, especially like phys ed classes, places like that. You may see significantly higher numbers. So that's an excellent question.
So then the average should be higher than 10, if you average the classes that you have.
Yes. I can get you an average. I don't have that, but I can get that.
I think
That's
that
a
would
very
make
good
you
point.
look better in the
Jay,
long run.
I have a question about that too. Is that number 10, is that the minimum number of students
Per class.
that can, so that class will run?
Right, exactly, yes.
Okay, so that's what I thought it was.
That's what we're aiming for, is for a class to run, have a minimum of 10 students. It can have more, but a minimum to run that particular class. That was a great question.
So I think to help you, maybe you should have two numbers.
Okay.
The minimum versus the average.
Yep.
So that it doesn't, when people look at the number, they don't get blown away.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey, Gary.
Alex is gonna say.
Yep.
So I guess my question is, so if a class doesn't meet that 10-person threshold, what happens?
So I've asked Dr. Conway to talk to guidance about, they kind of have a fairly good idea of those classes that you may have 12 students, but 4 will drop out when the class starts running. So I've asked Dr. Conway to kind of say, we want to try to run classes a minimum of 10. So if you know you're going to lose a couple students, let's try to make sure we at least start enrollments of 12 or 14, just so we can run the class. And we can, with a straight face, say there were 14 students in the class, so we ran the class, knowing that you may lose a couple. And again, a lot of the AP dual enrollment, those kinds of classes sometimes will, and electives, you'll have kids move around at the beginning of the year or the beginning of a semester, so.
Okay, so like more specialized classes
Yeah.
are kind of the exception, not the norm?
Right, exactly, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Any further board discussion? So the only one item on E here, the paperwork says 28, 26, 27.
I'll get that, yeah, I'll get that fixed up, so it's correct.
Paperwork
That was
says
it, yeah.
28.
Yeah,
I think
okay,
that middle school Arcadia team.
okay,
Are
I'll
they going to
double
be
check
out the
that.
28th also?
The 28th, I believe, is like a Saturday, isn't it? Yeah,
The paperwork says 28, but our front sheet here only said 27.
the
Okay.
paperwork is right, okay.
Citizen comments? Anybody have comments?
Kristen just said they're using a charter bus.
They are using the charter bus. Okay. So, yeah. So Dr. Levac just said that they are using a charter bus for that field trip. Am I correct in saying that? Okay.
Sounds good.
Any more discussion? Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Adjourn.